Another interesting shader is Backlight Shader. It's for creating the leaves that you can see them when we have a source light at the back of them. For creating such these things, you need, for example, a surface like this. Rotating. I want to create a light source to back up it and create some shadow on it to simulate backlight shader, and they give the material to that. You can insert a simple 3D text, simple 3D text or TC. Let's try TC. Okay, and we want to create a light source at the behind of that and create a shadow for that. Don't forget, we need to go into settings, go into the standard. Okay, don't forget that. Now we can insert a simple spotlight here, and I want to rotate the spotlight 180 degrees to create a shadow on it. And I explained all of them before. You can refer to the previous lesson. Don't forget, go to the light setting in the shadow and make them, for example, a hard shadow to better see that on the surface. To better see that, I need to interactive render. Now you can see we have our shadow on a wall. But if you going in this way, you cannot see anything. We need to assign our material to that plane, standard material. Assign it to the plane, click and drag, and double click. In this case, we don't need to do color. We have to go to the Luminance channel for assigning the backlight shader. Activate the Luminance channel. It's illuminate. I will explain it later in another channel. It's exactly like a color. Go to Luminance. As you can see, we have a color, brightness, texture. In a texture, we are going to explain effects, occlusion, and the next shader is backlight. So for inserting the backlight, you need to have to go in Luminance channel. And this is our backlight. Now you can see our shadow. You can make this wider. We can see the shadow of the TC, and the light is passing through this plane, and you can see it. If you go to the backlight settings, this is something like this. You can override the color. If you want, you can add a color to your light. Nice. Or any color that you want. We have different algorithms to calculate it in internal or linear or simple. For better understanding that, you can see what's different between the simple or internal. This is the all circle that assigned backlight shader, and this is a lighter part of the sky to the darker part. You can see in the internal, we can see objects through each other, and if you go to the internal algorithm, if you go to the darker part of the sky, we have a darker part of the object and material, but in a simple, we don't have it. I think the internal is more natural, so you can use it. As you can see, it is by default. You can add illumination, more light to your plane, or right click, you can see, boom. We have more lighter or more darker. By default, is this number. Or an higher is for object that you have you can add more thickness to your object if you want. You can see the roughness will be turned on, and you can turn it on or off for more rough and more thick object. And this isn't simple. In shadow intensity, you can decrease or increase the number of the the shadow of the object that is behind that. You can see this is the object that created shadow, and from this side you can see that shadow. You can control this shadow 100% more rough and dark or a little bit lighter. And the clip and the contrast, you don't need to if you have a very light, very old version. In the old version, this clip is clipping the brightness uh, of it. It's clipping that, but we don't need to now. If you activate clip, you can control the contrast of that brightness. That's it. So don't forget to give the luminance channel to color. You can right click and copy and give it to the color. Let's try that. Paste. You can see you have nothing. Okay, you can see in this way, but you cannot see in this way. So you have to give that to luminance channel and turn off the color. If you want to add another texture, you can add it to it. Okay, this is backlight shader. Another thing, for example, if you go to the backlight shader, you can control the light of the backlight here. But if you add another color on top of that, like this, you cannot see that color because this is a backlight shader that will completely occupy the texture layer. So you have to use a mix mode, for example, multiply. You can see this color multiply to the backlight color of this.